live. So let's see how all the various things are going. Give it a few minutes. We're making sure that everything is actually working the way it's supposed to be working, because yay for first time doing stuff. Because I'm not seeing, it says we're live, but I can't see it on the oh, yep, there's Twitch. Okay, so we are definitely live on Twitch. I don't know about YouTube yet, but we are definitely live on Twitch. So we're just going to assume
we're live. It just says video unavailable at the moment.
Oh, for YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wonder why. Oh, there we go. It says upcoming.
Yeah.
I wonder why it says upcoming. Unless there's a delay. Anyway, we will figure that out later. Regardless, this is doing Twitch, and if nothing else, I can always go and download it from Twitch and re-edit it again like I did yesterday for the other one. So, hey, everybody. Hi, how you doing? It is Chrysalis and JC, and we are STAYtalk. We're going to try to figure out an actual official intro at some point in time.
We can steal my Hey Stay.
Hey Stay. That's if you don't mind, we could use it. Hey Stay.
We'll have to trademark it so nobody else can use it, though.
I haven't even gotten that far into the weeds of logistics yet. Just let me get this figured out first, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
But we hope everybody is doing all right today. We do know that this is 11:38 in the morning on a Friday. Most everybody is probably at work. So we get that. We are pretty certain that most of you will probably be catching this on a replay later on. We would love for you to interact, comment, leave stuff that you would like us to talk about for future episodes. We've got Discord now. Links are all in the bios, whatever. You subscribe, like, do the thing. I need to clip. Was it Chris that did the whole subscribe, like thing on one of the videos recently? Yeah. I need to clip that and add that as an audio or something. I don't know. But we hope you're having a wonderful week. We hope you are heading into a wonderful weekend. And we actually have quite a bit to talk about today. We're going to probably chunk this up into a couple of different episodes. So we'll run this one for about a half hour or so, and then break, and then start another one if you want to join us on the next one. But JC, if you want to do good mornings, intros, whatever you would like to add for Morning Ment.
No, good morning. Hey, Stay. Yes, lots to talk about, especially since we just got the rollout of some more Karma teaser.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, what do you think of these images, of this round of images? Because they're very, very futuristic.
Futuristic, but I do like, if you notice, and this is just my observation, Han, Chanbin, Felix, and I think Minnie, Sungmin, all have their natural eye color. There's no contacts. Especially Felix. That I noticed right away.
And I know Chris only had the one. He
had the one blue one, and I think Hyunjin did, and Ian, no, and I take that back. Ian had his natural and Lino. I think everybody except for Chris had their natural eye color, which, because I'm a big proponent of Felix's natural brown eyes.
Yes, all of them, honestly. Just
no, and I do. I love all of them. Some of them I don't mind, especially depending on the shoot. I have naturally green eyes, which is unique. So, especially since my mother has blue and my father has brown, so it's kind of ironic that I have green. It's definitely a recessive gene. I guess my grandfather had green eyes. So, but
I'm the same way. Mine are greenish, and my mom's blue brown.
So I don't mind green on some of them. I've seen green on Felix. Yeah. So it's that Irish Italian thing.
I'm Italian by osmosis, but that's
well. There you go. But so I think that. Yeah. I liked the images. I like the black and white. I like the colors, because it's just black and white with the futuristic background. I love Hyunjin's Cruella nod. I thought that was. You don't like it? Really?
Not personally. I think it's because you could tell it's painted. It's not like when any of them have done Oreo hair in the past, and it's obviously where it's their hair bleached out, because it's got that Halloween spray painted.
Oh, see, I thought it was cool.
I'm not big on it personally. That's just me, and it's because he's the only the other one where they've got the fire painted into his hair. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. That's when he did the Versace thing for Versace and whatnot. That's all fine. I don't mind when it's painted like that. But because it is stark black on one side and stark white on the other side, it makes it, to me, it just makes it look very ordered from Wish.
See, I think he's nodding to anime.
I do, but I get
it.
I do, but
hey,
I personally, me,
personal preference. I get it. I liked it. I liked the white tips on Lino too. I thought that like he had like the white highlights in his hair, and I love the black braiding in Felix's hair.
Hyunjin is not wearing contacts either.
He's not. For some reason, I don't know. Maybe it was with the shot that I was looking at.
Hold on,
but I'm excited.
The only one that's wearing is Chris, and it's just the one eye,
side,
which
like he always does. Yeah.
Well, the side varies.
Well, because it's Railway, he has the one. There's another.
But it depends. But it changes. Railway, it changes eyes depending on which Chris you're looking at.
Well, that's true. Yes.
And this
whether it's Han or whether it's Christopher.
Right. And this one, I can't remember which. Is it?
If he's facing this way, it's his left eye. Because remember, he's turned towards us, so it's his left eye.
So, well, unless they mirrored it, because they could have mirrored the shot.
They could have.
But he's the only one that's done that. I need to go back and look at the other releases. Were the other releases? Is he the only one wearing a? Because I know this. The first set he had the scar. No, but the first set he was the only one wearing the scar.
Yes, in the eye. You're right. Mm-hmm.
So there's something going on with that specifically for Chris with this release.
Could be.
And I have a rabbit hole to go play with.
Yes.
This particular set of releases today, I like the futuristic aspect because it plays into the whole Skiz games.
Yes.
That the Karma games, whatever.
2081. It's supposed to be the 2081 winner, which I do love the little nod to us.
Yeah, well, there's that.
All they did was inflective, which is turn the numbers from 2018 to 2081.
There's that aspect of it, and there's also it kind of plays into that cyberpunk Blade Runner.
Yes. Gaming type,
Tekken anime feel that they have going with that. So I like it from that standpoint. I love Chris's hair.
I like his natural curls. I did write that. I wrote the natural eyes on Felix and the natural curls on Chris. I like his hair curly. I wish they would take the straightener out of stylist hands. It's like, please.
But I don't know. See, but he doesn't like his hair curly. Like
I know.
He said it a lot.
Christopher, I need to speak to you for a moment if you ever come across this. Like, we love your curls. Please. Like, for somebody who's used to straighten their hair, this is this is like a day old, but I have natural waves. I have the Irish waves, or the Irish curls, as they call them.
I get it, because I've got the Irish curls going right now.
And it's always
top, and it's all curls underneath.
And I used to straighten the hell out of my hair, and I'm like, now it's like I go with the flow. Like, there's something very just aesthetically pleasing about your natural curls. So please, from us, Stay and most Stay to you. Please.
Yeah, we're not. Please.
I mean, I like.
We're saying please.
It's the same way.
We're saying please.
Yeah, it's the same way I felt about Felix when he was like the black blonde vote, and then he felt the need to dye his hair black since all the people had voted black, all the Stay had voted black. And I was like, as somebody who is, as you could see, like dark blonde, I'll call it palmino blonde, and I highlight my hair blonde. I was always bright blonde. I feel better as a blonde. I feel more alive as a blonde. So I get his feelings and mentality about when he looks in the mirror. I dyed my hair dark like Felix a bunch of times, but there was one particular time and when I looked in the mirror, I didn't recognize myself. It was like, I just felt, you don't feel as bright and cheery. And I can understand what he meant when he said that. He's like, I don't feel quite like myself. Yeah, it's true. So
I've done hair color wise, I've done everything from purple, burgundy, black, various shades of brown. And the only color I have, and red, reds, more reds than I could possibly ever think of. The one color I have not ever done is blonde, because I watched Winona Ryder and Edward Scissorhands, and I know for a fact that is not going to work on me, because I've got the same coloring and the same facial structure and not gonna work.
Yeah.
I wanted to try blonde at one point, but I knew that wasn't gonna. And then COVID hit, and this started growing out, and I had always wanted this naturally, and it did it naturally. And now I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I worked hard for this streak. Dang it, leave my rogue streak
Exactly.
alone. I'm keeping it right where it is.
Yeah, I think silver gray or white is beautiful. I mean, it's so funny. I always joke with my hairdresser because she'll be like, "You got some whites," and I'm like, I'm going to be white. I'm not going to be, even though I have this dark color, when I get older, it's going to be white. And I'm okay with that. My grandfather was white. My grandmother was white, had the white hair. I'm okay with that. But for now, it's going to be.
Oh, that's it.
So I get that.
Well, somebody told me when I worked in a salon for a little while, and they're like, well, and I was in my 30s at the time, and they're like, well, you're too young to have gray. And I'm like, but I do.
Hey, didn't Hyunjin posted a picture and you could see some of the gray.
Oh, okay. Let's touch on that for just a couple seconds before we get into the main topic we wanted to go on today, because that's something I thought about the other day.
Okay.
You naturally get grays in your 20s, folks.
Yes,
that is, it's not unusual. It's not going gray early. The random little one-off sparkles you get in your hair is completely normal and natural. No, it is not stress-induced. Like I saw a couple of posts.
Did somebody put that somewhere? And I didn't see it. See, I tried to.
That is natural. He had like 5. It wasn't like this. Okay. Yeah. That is not, he's not going gray early. That is just it is normal. Calm down. People. See, this is where the whole ageism thing comes in, because there is so much we just, and I don't know if it's just a Western thing or what, because I know that other cultures, especially Asian cultures, handle aging on a completely different level than we do. So I don't know if it's just purely a Eurocentric Western mentality.
Yeah, because I was looking at, as I said in our first podcast, I've watched quite a few K-dramas, especially during COVID, and continue to now. And I love recognizing the older actors that are constantly being reused in K-dramas. There's like my select 5 older women and men that I always spot, who I adore. And so to me, it makes me feel that age is revered more and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems more in Asian cultures, there's a wisdom and they want to, listen and understand and respect. And there's a different level than there is in Western culture. In Western cultures, they don't want, I know for fact, and people can call me whatever for this, but they don't want women to age. They want you to look exactly the same as you did in your 20s. And so when you're 50.
Look at the discourse with Pamela Anderson right now.
Yes.
And like, here she was in her 20s.
What does the matter with you people? Like, she's got a beautiful freckled face. She's got this blonde hair. She's
adorable.
For crying out loud, who hasn't seen anybody or dated since his wife died. So
16 plus years ago.
Pamela Anderson still got it, folks.
Yeah, I mean, anyway. So there's that. But there's we tangent bus, redirect, put back on rails. This train is not sleeping apparently today, and it's going to go off in a massive amount of ways. All right, so the main thing we wanted to, but back to the pictures at least. I like the overall aesthetic of the pictures. There's little individual things I don't like. I now need to go figure out which freaking pictures Chris is wearing contacts in and which he's not, and whether it's just him or whether it's all of them. Because I do think that there's a there. And I don't know why it's centered around just him, and why he's doing specifically, because usually they're a bit more cohesive. It's not like one of them do.
Right. No, I'm looking now because I'm looking at Han. Han doesn't have them.
The only person wearing contacts in today's is Chris, and it's just the one.
Yeah.
Which is similar to the first round.
I hate to say it. There is a shot. I don't like to do this usually. I scrolled up on one of Felix's, the one where he's got his, and it does look like it's showing blue around his eyes. But then you look at another one, and it looks brown. So I don't know if it's just the way the camera. Do you know what I mean?
No, those are both brown.
Or look at the one where he's doing the tongue thing.
Yeah, those are both brown.
But if you look at his right eye, there's a rim of blue. So I don't know if it's just the camera flash.
Yeah, that's the light.
Okay.
Because it's on both eyes. That's the light reflection.
Yeah, because now I'm looking at Benny's and it's the light.
Because
Lino doesn't. Lino's, and then
it's because they're looking straight at.
So then it's just Chris, which
is
interesting.
That's an which is and that's it, and that's what's going on. Why is Chris the only one in this rollout, in this comeback, doing that? Because we know they don't do stuff like that without. Even if we never figure it out, because God knows there's been a ton of breadcrumbs and clues and whatnot and intentions left elsewhere that people are still to this day trying to, I have to wonder. So, okay, you've been in performance, as we mentioned before. I have been in performance, as we have mentioned before. Dang well, when you come up with something for a show and it goes over the way you want it to. So going over, of course, if any of you are not aware in the industry, if something goes over, it's because you had an idea, you executed it, and the audience loved it. That's what go over means. Yeah. And if something goes over, you're backstage giggling your ass off, kicking your feet. So how much thought, and as well, I'm sure, that it is ridiculous to come up with multiple ideas beforehand, not knowing what's going to land, not knowing what's going to stick.
Right.
So with every single detail that this group comes up with, and I don't think any of the other groups get as in detailed as they do with the hints and the spoilers and
I agree. Maybe
maybe
AT's only that I've seen some, but recently, but I agree. I think as a whole in the history, I believe that Stray Kids does it differently. I do.
And not to this level, like there is layer upon layer upon the layer cake is at least 7 minimum. And can you imagine when this stuff lands, just, I mean, the cowboy Bang Chang comment yesterday,
I saw some back and forth, and not to call her out, but I love her. Non-toxic Tita, I think it is, on Threads. She's like, do you honestly think that Chan knows the reference "Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy," from Big and Rich? And I was like, and I started reading the comments. I'm like, well, it is in the vernacular now. I think anybody, even Gen Zers, would know that reference.
There are so many memes. There are so many memes outside of the song.
Right. So, I mean, and for them being as online as they are, so it makes me believe that he would. But I get her point, because it was like, she's like, he was 6 when that song came out. And I'm like, way to make me feel old. I'm like, I remember dancing to Coyote Ugly out in Las Vegas on the bar to that song, where the bar is the stage at the one in Las Vegas, not like New York where it's the actual bar, but yeah. So
I did not need JC. I did not need that tidbit in my. I did not need to know that bit of information. Anyway, but yeah, no, he knew. And he saw all of us online going crazy about it. So there's no way. I do believe that man is further deep into Stayville than we will ever know, because he does seem to find stuff before any of the rest of us. Like, I don't know what part of Twitter that man resides in, that because you stay off Twitter for the most part. I stay off of it for the most part.
Twitter. Yeah, I wish he'd get off of Twitter and come back to Threads, because I do think that Threads may be more feral, but Twitter's more toxic.
Yeah, okay. So that's actually a great segue into the topic we wanted to get on with this particular episode for today, which is parasocial relationships. Because obviously we had the recent live where Chan kind of laid down some boundaries, and of course, when anybody who did not previously have boundaries lays boundaries down, people get upset. And because I unfortunately did not get to see Channy's room. I missed all the act when it was happening. I've watched obviously watched the playbacks and I've gone through and I've started to kind of go through the 4 years worth of content that it is. But during Chan's room, obviously he was very transparent, or as transparent as he could be, and was authentically Chris.
I believe that. Yeah, that's why when people they're like, I saw somebody write a whole thing today about idols and how it's a persona, because I forget the lead. I think it's the lead singer from The Rose says, "Well, we're playing a character. We're on stage. It's our persona." Yeah, of course. Anytime you're on stage, it's a persona. Mm-hmm. But I would like to also add, but there's also a bit of you. I don't care how good of an actor you are. You're bringing part of yourself whenever you perform, whether that be dancing, singing, acting, writing. There's an element of who you really are that's going to be either put in that character or part of the whole persona. Because you're human, so that is going to come through regardless.
To stop you right there. I'm going to use a wrestling term just for this, because I
understand wrestling terms. So go ahead.
Professional wrestling is part of my background as well. But the professional wrestlers that are successful, you're talking your Steve Austins, your The Rock, Roman Reigns, and whatnot. When they reach that level where they are no longer just known in the wrestling world, but they are known outside of just the wrestling environment, those household names that we know, that everybody pretty much knows, regardless of whether you watch wrestling or not. The reason why those characters work is because they have taken themselves and they've amped it up to 100. So if they've taken, this is who I am, now I'm going to take me and tear down every single filter that I have, and I'm going to give you completely like me to the nth degree.
Yep.
Not how they would be every day. That's not how they are every day. That's not day-to-day life. That's not how they interact, whatever. But that's them taking themselves and just opening the floodgates and letting it flow out. Yep. That's what I think a lot of K-pop, when K-pop works right, because obviously prior to Stray Kids and whatnot, everybody, I mean, you saw it even back with your New Kids on the Block and your NSYNC and your Backstreet Boys. You had your preppy boy, you had your bad boy, you had your the quiet one. And like it was usually always 5 guys, and there were 5 archetypes, and each one fit into that archetype. Now if that person actually matched that archetype, it worked. But if that person was placed into an archetype that didn't suit them personally, you could feel it. You could tell because it was forced. Yeah. And you could see it with the different groups throughout. I agree. 98 Degrees, O-Town, you name a boy group. And if they were put in One Direction, if they were put into an archetype that did not fit their personality, it didn't hit. It didn't land. Right. So there is always that. So when you watch Chan's room, you got to see Chris. Like that was the tone down. That was Chan toned down. Just Chris being Chris. Mm-hmm. As much as he can be. Because obviously there's going to be a level of protection that he, a wall that he, a boundary that was set.
But he brought that down, and that's why it ended. You know what I mean? Like I think to a point, but I'm sorry, I agree with him. I agreed with the last thing he said in the last Chan's room, talking about respect and artists and how seniors should be treated and everything else. I didn't think there was anything wrong with what he said.
Obviously, I haven't watched it all yet. So I've not gotten to
that. The last one that he spoke to the fact of they were a music show, and it was about disrespectful, I'll say peers, but they were younger peers in their industry and how they were treated, and vice versa. I think older to them and how they were treated. And like, he was like, if somebody says hi, you should just, kind of be nice and say hi back. He's not wrong. No. But he was put on, for that, and
he put on blast. Yeah.
Well, because don't even get me started. But anyway.
Well, I mean, and there's 2 layers to that particular topic. There's 2 layers to, because both you're dealing with just the common sense, somebody says hi, say hi back, no big deal, go on your way. But then also in that culture, you have that hierarchy.
Right. Which that's why it surprised me that he got the blowback from that. But all right. So now skewing to the parasocialness of this. So yes, so when Chris came out in that live, it was funny. I had caught it. I had woken up and caught
froze
from the point of you froze on me.
Yeah, you froze for a second. It's
okay.
Right.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry. I had woken up and watched the live. I got to watch it live in bed. And I watched, he seemed on edge to begin with.
He was uncomfortable.
Me. Right. Like, I think he wanted to come on and wanted to be, would stay and whatnot. But I think he just, and he did stay up all night, he said. And I get it, because he doesn't sleep, because there was quite a period of time where I didn't sleep at all either. And I listened to exactly how he said, and people were like, oh, he shouldn't have taken that tone. Well, when something pokes at you over and over and over and over again, and a lot of times I shut off the chat, whether it be on YouTube or Instagram, I close the chat off. I don't want to see what anybody else has to say, because I know 1,000,000 times to one, it's going to say, please speak English, the country flag, wherever they're from, say hello to wherever. I'm not going to call anybody out on that.
It's my birthday. Say happy birthday to me.
Yeah, act my boyfriend for 5 seconds.
Touch your hair if you love Felix. Where's Sunjin?
Yeah, exactly. It's so I can understand him saying, I do what I want. Because he's a human. Because you're going to do what you want. And obviously what you want is to get a reaction from Chris.
Yeah.
So it's like, for him to say that, and then I love the far out, because that's also like, bless your heart. Sorry, and if you guys don't know what that means, go look it up. Because that was perfect. The way the timing of it was so perfect. He's like, far out. And I'm like, I know I'm not Australian, and I know exactly what you're saying with that.
Exactly what that, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. And then he went on the tirade. I won't say it a tirade, but he went on to say, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. Don't approach us, but if you are going to approach us, be positive, which I agree with Robin Rambles. He said don't approach him. But here's the deal. If you're somewhere and you happen to run into him, I'm not going to ignore the person either. From afar, I would acknowledge them. I would say, I would do the head nod or the smile or mouth the hi. And then I would, like I said in my TikTok, and I would secretly figure out whether their tab was closed. I'd pay for it. I'd nod my head once more and walk out the door. That's what I would do. Yep. That's just me. That's who I am. I would do that to a lot of people. I do the pay it forward thing because I can. So that's where I am with that. But getting back to what Chris was saying, I mean, I had heard a story. Now, I don't know if it's a story or the truth, because of course, everything you read on threads and TikTok and things, but somebody approached his father, if I'm not mistaken, or
kissed him on the cheek. No, it was Jack. It was Chris's dad.
Which, thankfully, Jack and Jessica, Chan's parents, are very social media oriented. They do a lot of stuff. But that doesn't mean that you have access to them like you should have access to their son either. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're off limits too. They may share stuff with you, but it's not meant to. So the fact that somebody even did that, I'm appalled. Like, why would you feel comfortable enough to do that? They were very gracious to stay at concerts. People have said, there was a little girl that said something, or the mother was there and Jessica came over and gave her a hug. That's a child. So obviously it's a little bit different, but I think
that when the mom encouraged the daughter to go to approach Jessica, and Jessica saw her and gave her, like, because I saw the video of it,
right?
And I'm pretty sure it's because the mom encouraged. But again, it's by all means, if I had a child that was that young that was at the concert and I saw them, I'd be like, hey, go say hi.
Yeah, go say hi. Don't But I mean, if she offers to hug her or whatever, fine.
Yeah.
But again, that's how I would be. If I was Chan's mom or any of their moms and somebody saw me and stuff, I would be gracious and loving and think to a point, but you got to put up that boundary. You know what I mean? Because you don't know me either. You know my son.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Well, and even
you don't even know my son, but you're a fan of my son. So of course I'm going to be grateful and loving and that sort of thing.
Supportive. Yeah. That aspect.
I agree with everything Chris said. I said that. He needed to say it. There are some people that cross the boundary. There are some people, and this is what I hate, this thing, when he said, put your phone up or whatever else, and like in my face.
Yeah, or you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
No,
what? They're not wild animals. You're not at the freaking zoo.
they are not show ponies. They are
They're on
performers. They are
stage.
not
Go
show
ahead and
ponies.
record them. They're singing and dancing. They're doing their mints. You want to record that? Feel free. But in
Mhm.
real life, if you want to really be a human being to another human being who just happens to have a really cool job, then be nice about it.
Yeah,
Like be
exactly.
pleasant, be polite, or don't acknowledge them at all.
Yeah, and it's weird because like I know I personally fangirl. I have I get jittery. I get that whole oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and I like and it's funny because when I'm at work, everybody's this like I don't care whether you're the president or whether you're the first day on the job data entry low end entry level position person. You know, like you're all the same. You get me in front of a celebrity and I'm like, for at least a couple seconds until till my logic kicks in that wait, this is another person. They just are gorgeous and they have a job.
Yes.
Yes, I've seen you topless. Like there's that aspect. Do we need to pause for a second? Are you good?
No, we're good.
Okay. So I know I internally fangirl and
Yeah.
my face will turn. I know my face will turn red. I will blush. I will, this whole thing will turn, not so much beet red, but I will turn, like, you could tell I'm like inside because that's just the way my brain reacts.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be like, I'm gonna give you a small story of how I fangirl. Okay. Cause this is funny. We all know, I shouldn't say we all know, you might remember Joey Lawrence from Blossom.
Yes.
He like many of the young, attractive men, put out an album.
Yep.
In the that was early 90s? Early 90s? That had to have been early 90s.
I want to say it's early 90s. I remember the song too that he put out.
And I had the cassette. It was a cassette. And it was around this time that Target started to come into my market in Florida and started opening up Targets in Florida.
Okay.
And that was also around the time that Target started doing their partnerships with musical artists.
Yep.
So you know how Target always does, we get the Target exclusive Stray Kids stuff. And don't come at me for Target, folks. I know people don't want to shop there for various reasons. We can get into that topic at a whole nother point in time. This is not today. But one of the first promotions they did was to bring Joey Lawrence on a CD signing tour of Targets. So I find out that he's going to be at my local Target. And I'm like, awesome, this is great. So my friends and I go and we get in line and I've got my little cassette tape. And then we find out that he is not going to sign anything that was brought into the store. You had to buy the album in the store.
Yeah.
Which, okay, great marketing campaign. But now at this point, I no longer have anything for him to sign because I don't have any money on me to buy a CD. Because again, I'm like in middle school at this point. So I'm in line with my friends. My friend goes and buys a CD. She gets back in line with me. They've got him in the garden center of all places. The fact that I can remember these details is hilarious. They have him in the garden and they had like, one of those riser podiums they use in the garden center. And they had a card table on the riser. And he's there with like 2 security guards on either side of him and like a rope. Like we couldn't approach the podium. It was so weird. Like I was like, this is ridiculous. But I got up there and I said, hey, and by now I'm relaxed because I've been looking at him for 5 minutes. So I'm like, okay, so now I'm relaxed and I get up there and he's like, well, hey, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. He's like, well, do you have anything for me to sign? I'm like, no, unfortunately I couldn't buy a CD, unless you think you can sign my jeans. I'm like, I would love for you to sign my jeans. He's like, well, if you can get up here, I will. And I started climbing over the rope. Security guards freaked out for a minute. He's dying laughing. Yeah. I don't know if he remembers it. It would be hilarious if he remembers this. And I'm like, dang it. Okay, fine. So I ended up not getting an autograph. But that's why when I say stuff online, even though it might be feral, I would say this in person because that's
okay.
If I get that opening, I'm gonna take it type thing.
I have 2 quick stories of two separate musicians that I've had interactions with. So one of them was I worked at a fine dining restaurant in downtown Hartford, Connecticut. We used to get a lot of celebrities. Dave Matthews would come in all the time when he was touring because Hartford was one of his stops. We had Bruce Springsteen call us up once after a show and say, can you make me a sandwich? And I was like, and it was actually him on the phone because I picked up the phone. So we've had a lot of celebrities. So there's a hotel that's near, very well-known hotel in Hartford by the Civic Center, whatever. And I was walking to work one day and there was a female door girl at this hotel. And she would always like walk out whenever I would walk. And it always kind of ticked me off. But so this one day she walks out in front of me. I literally almost trip and I fall into this person. And I'm like, oh God, I'm so sorry. And I look up and it's Johnny Resnick of the Goo Goo Dolls. Ooh. And I literally, I'm holding the man because I almost fell into the road. And I'm just like, hi. And he's like, hi. And I said, sorry. And he says, no problem. And I brush myself off and I continue to my job. So the lunch rush passes. The bar is always empty after the lunch rush because it's a business day. And sure enough, I go downstairs and Robbie from Goo Goo Dolls and Johnny are sitting at the edge of the bar. And so now I'm like, screw it. You're in my place now. So I joke. I'm like, are you following me? To which he laughs and he goes, I was going to ask you the same question. And so we had a little, thing. And it was great. And I picked up their lunch, like I said I always would. And great, good thing. They went on to their concert, never saw him again. The second interest, though, and this is where I go with Chan, where Chan's like, if we approach you or but kind of thing.
Yeah.
I happen to like 311, the band.
Okay.
I don't know if you know who 311 is. Some people may know, some people may not. Okay, 311, Nick Hexum, big, tall, blonde, Nebraskan, guy.
Yeah.
So I go to the concert. I get backstage passes because the radio station that was there, who I happened to be going to work for the following Monday, and the person knew it and like, well, you're a fan right now, so I can give you these backstage passes and it's not a conflict of interest. So I get the backstage passes, we go backstage, I meet them all, and I'm standing there, and of course, this is the time of the years that I was a fan where I had the big Junko, big giant jeans on that were all the fashion, which is coming back now, those barrel leg jeans.
Trip jeans.
So I'm standing there and I get a tap on my shoulder and I turn and it's Nick Hexum, who's now I'm 5'3". He's got to be 6'5", 6'6". And he looks at me and he says, can I tag your jeans? And I'm like, sure you can. Like, I'm going to say no to Nick Hexum. So he tagged my jeans with the LA Hardcore and the 311 and he signed it, my jeans. And I said, oh, thanks. And he goes, no problem. He goes, I just saw your jeans there and I felt the need to tag him. Like, no problem. We had a little talked about the music, talked about the thing, left. So see, there's ways that if somebody really wants to have that connection, they will.
Yeah, like it will
happen organically, and I hate to use that term because a lot of people use it, but organically. So if you're kind and you're out there and you just happen to acknowledge them and they find something interesting or they want it, they may come up to you. Like, you don't know that, but you got to give them the chance. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and if you see, like, if you've watched, okay, so when they've had, we probably need to get to a point where we can cut this and start next step. But
right, well, that's fine.
If you watch the footage from like when they've done the pop-up cafes and such over in Korea, and Chris is gone, Lino's gone, Sungmin and Ian have gone and whatnot, they will like, and everybody's like, oh my God, what do we do? Because again, culturally, it's you kind of, in that environment, you stay back, but they will come up and engage. Now, granted, they're working when they're in that environment, they're working.
Right.
But they're not working where there's like people need to understand there's levels of working. Number one, but when they are out at the Coliseum as a group, sightseeing as tourists,
or dinner, or like Hyunjin had brunch. I forget where he was. They had brunch and a bunch of people approached him sitting, eating. That's a different story.
No.
Don't do that. Like, no. That's a big no.
No.
If they're getting up to leave, you happen to go by in the thing and you say, oh, I love your music, thank you so much. There you go.
Yep.
And if he happens to say, do you want anything signed or do you want a photo? But you have to wait. You let them offer. You don't say, oh, I want to take a picture with you.
Yeah, and you don't, and like the when,
or you
like,
could ask and they could say no.
Or
and then
when
you get bad.
And I understand the whole, like, the footage of when they were in Sydney and Felix was walking around with his mom and his sisters, and people were taking video of him walking around with his mom and his sisters. Now, okay, this is where people are probably going to get where they're going to be like, but wait, I can understand taking the video of them walking around. You're from a distance. You're not interacting. You see him. You take the vid, if nothing else, for you to be like, oh my God, look. You don't then go post it on social media. That is for you.
Okay. Yeah.
That is for you, for your reference. That is for you to maybe show your friends, show your family when you get home. Oh my God, look, isn't this awesome? that's the extent of that. You don't go and blast that all over social media, because at that point in time, you're now performative.
Right.
You've now crossed it. You didn't take that video for yourself to be like, oh my God, I ran into that. Like, I saw this person on the street and look at how gorgeous he is.
Right.
Because, I mean, he's on the street. Yes, he is in a public space. Yes, he is a public figure. That's where that line, people tend to mess. Because when you're in a public space, yeah, you're going to, I mean, even us who aren't public figures, if we are in a public space, there's no expectation. There's no expectation of privacy. Right. But you then do not go and blast it all over the place.
No.
That is for you. That is your own personal video for you to keep in your phone as a little memory for yourself. That's it. Which is why I think it's really interesting to me when we saw like the cases where it's like, okay, we knew where they were every second of the day in Latin America. That really bothered. It bothered me that they were, you know, Felix was sitting outside on the balcony and couldn't even sit outside on the balcony. Yeah. We knew where they were every second of the day in Europe. We didn't know where the hell they were at all in North America, for all of our faults and for all of our the world is burning and for all of our WTF.
Yeah.
That is America.
Yep.
And how we do things. You didn't know jack where you didn't know where they were staying. You didn't know where they were at. We had no idea.
You can even tell when they're walking, like in some of these talkers, when they're out and about, like nobody was paying attention.
No.
It's kind of like, it's the way I felt like, yeah, go ahead.
It's not even that I don't think anyone was paying attention. It was just that aspect of either A, they weren't recognized, because that's possible. I mean, they're not as big here as they are some other places. But, and when they're, when they're not, when they're just barefaced walking through the city, you might not recognize them from Adam, realistically speaking. I probably wouldn't. I'm horrible.
I wanted to be a detective at one time. So faces and voices and things to me, like I just recognize them. But I thought about this because especially in New York is the one place that's what, when Felix says, I love to go shopping in New York, I can tell you exactly why. Because nobody's going to give him a second look. Nobody's going to bother him. Nobody's going to come up to him, nothing. Because New York is like that. Like when you're in New York, and I've spotted several people in New York because I am very close to New York. You all blend. Everybody blends in together. So it's you really gotta like be looking for somebody if you're going to try to find somebody in New York. And the fact that he was able to walk around and take the subway and nobody bother him was like my little tri-state area New England heart was like, yay! I'm so glad they got to do that. Well,
yeah, I mean, but even in like California and whatnot, they were walking around. Like Hyunjin actually got to go to museums.
Hey,
and not get accosted.
As much as I'm not.
Hold on, you froze.
Not going to go on the Target thing either, but Sungmin and Han got to go to Target.
Yeah, Han going to Target to buy toys. Han got
to go to Target when they were in Chicago.
Yeah, and Han going to Target in Atlanta to go buy a dinosaur.
Yeah.
But okay, but parasocially speaking, we can. I think we should expand on this a little bit. Let's cut this one here.
Yep.
For sake of purpose, and we'll stop this episode here, and we will start episode 3 in just a minute. So if you're catching this on replay, thank you for watching. Again, we are on Discord, we are on Twitch. Please, if you want to subscribe and follow, we'd appreciate it. I'm not going to get all spammy with the hey, follow us thing, but we would love to have you around. We'd love for you to be part of the conversation. That's kind of what this is all about, is just opening conversation about all these various things and having a discourse in some way, shape, or form that hopefully will assist a lot of people. So thank you all, and we will catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.